Question 4 is the first real challenge of this paper, and it's on logic. And there's quite a few things to get to grips with here. So we're given this scenario where we're looking at a car, and looking at the three propositions. We've got P is that the car is under warranty, Q is the car is less than 2 years old, and R is the car has been driven more than 20,000 kilometres. The first part, we're asked to write down in words this statement here. Now we need to recognise that because we've got this symbol here, we're looking at an implication, which essentially means if something happens, so if this happens, then this happens, whatever this has. So first of all, we need to figure out what is going on the left-hand side. So Q is the car is less than 2 years old. So we've got if the car is less than 2 years old, this means or. So if the car is less than 2 years old, or, and then this is not R. So let's have a look first of all. R is the car has been driven more than 20,000 kilometres. So not R is the car has been driven less than 20,000 kilometres. So now we've basically got on our left-hand side, if the car is less than 2 years old, or it's been driven less than 20,000 kilometres, then P, then it's under warranty. So if the car is less than 2 years old or it's been driven less than 20,000 kilometres, then it's under warranty. Now we've gone to part B. And in order to get to grips with this, there are two things that we really need to have a strong hold of. The first one is the inclusive disjunction. By that we mean essentially this truth table here. So if we just look at straightforward P and Q truth table here, P or Q, so that means that you only need to have either P or Q or both. So in the first instance, first line we can see we've got both P and Q, so yes, that meets the criterion there. Second line, true and false, so we've got at least one, we've got P, so that's true. Third one, we've got Q is true, so at least one is true, so that's true. And it's only the final one where we don't have either P or Q that we can say P or Q is false. That's generally straightforward. It's this one here, the implication, which is the one that always confuses people. This implication is saying that if we have P, then Q happens. So it only tells us about what happens if we have P. So in the first instance here, it's saying P is true. So we have P, we would expect to get Q, we do get Q, that's consistent with the statement, so this one is true. In the second line, again, we've got P. P is true. However, in the statement, it says if P, then you would expect to get Q. You can see here that we don't actually get Q. So this statement contradicts the implication. In 3 and 4, we do not have P because we're told that P is false. This statement here only tells us about what happens if we have P. And since we don't have P in both of these instances here, we're not able to contradict this claim. So therefore, if we don't have P, both these statements are true. So basically, the only time we have a false in the implication is if we can disprove the implication. So here we said, if you get P, then you're going to get Q. In this instance here, you've got P, but yet you don't get Q, so we can disprove it. So that's what you need to get to grips with, and then we can have a look at the question. So first of all, Q or not R. So we're looking at Q or not R. Essentially, do we have at least one of those is true? So yes, or here in fact we've got two of them. Here we don't have either of them. Here we've got one, so that's true. Here we've got one, so that's true. Here we've got both of them, so that's true. Here we don't have any, so that's false. And here we don't have any, so that's false. So again, that's a straightforward one. The difficult one then is the implication. Q or not R, if we have Q or not R, then P. So this column now, let me just do this in a different colour. So now we're looking at Q or not R. So that's this column. And not R is this column. So remember, this statement only tells us what to expect if this is true. So we want this to be true. So let's just start off looking at the where we've got Q or not R to be true. So the first one we've got here, Q or not R is true. We would expect to get P. We would expect to get P. And we can see here that we do get P. So this statement is consistent. The second line, you can see that we've also got Q or not R is true. And again, we get P. So that one is also consistent with the statement. Let's just look at the other true one. So this one here, Q or not R is true. And again, we get P, which is what we expect. So that one is consistent. This one is true. So here we've got Q or not R. However, this time we don't have P, which is not what we expect up here. So this contradicts the statement. And similarly here, we've got Q or not R. However, we actually don't have P, which is not what we expect. So we're contradicting it. Now, the remaining ones, so that's this one, and this one, we don't have Q or not R. We don't have it because it's false. So we don't know what happens if Q or not R is false. So we can't disprove it. So therefore, these will also be true because we can't disprove it. So that is the final answer.